Hi there, it's Jenna from scribblinggrace.com. Today I come to you with a midweek video, which is a little outside of my norm, to review some Bibles that I got sent to me. So I'm going to get this out there. I got sent these from Thomas Nelson Bibles for free to be able to do this review. But I'm going to be honest about it, and I gotta say, I kind of love them. So I'll get into the features that kind of set these Bibles apart in a second. But this is the King James Version and New King James Version Thomas Nelson journaling Bibles. They're the Journal the Word Bible, but with the comfort print. So they're new and improved, basically. And I'll put the link to purchase these in the description below if you're interested. So I have here the New King James Version, which I'm going to keep for myself. And I also have the King James Version, which I'm going to give away next week. So this giveaway will be through email, but you can follow me on Instagram or Facebook or my email list to find out more about this giveaway. It's just a little hard to communicate through YouTube. So if you follow me on one of those other channels, it'll just be easier to make sure you don't miss this giveaway. One thing I want to point out about the covers, they come in a bunch of different covers and they're gorgeous. So I chose 2 of the cloth covered Bibles because I kind of sell painted Bibles for a living. So I was just thinking these would both be really great for painting the covers of. So just keep that in mind. But the covers themselves are also really beautiful. I love this one because it's so simple and elegant. And then they also have a floral one in this as well, in the King James Version. So just keep that in mind. But let's go ahead and get into them. Okay, so the King James Version obviously is almost exactly like the New King James, but of course this is a slightly different translation. But I'm going to use my New King James Version for the purpose of this little review here. So some things right off the bat that I love that are different about this Bible than other journaling Bibles or most other journaling Bibles is that Jesus's words are in red. There's a couple other journaling Bibles that do have this, but they're not, they're kind of few and far between. So this is kind of exciting because here finally is an option for the red print. And I also want to point out that if you don't know what a journaling Bible is, there's a bunch out there now, and they're basically just Bibles with the wider margins or fully blank page if you get the ESV interleaved. And the pages are slightly thicker, so you can take notes on them really easily. You can do Bible art in them, which of course is what I'm all about. And they just all around hold up much better to pens and things like that. So I love journaling Bibles, not just for art, my Bible art journaling, but also for note-taking. So that's one of the big advantages of this. You don't have to be a Bible journaler to love this Bible, because it's also great for just daily reading and note-taking and things. So it has Jesus's words in red, and then it also, one of my favorite features, has 2 bookmarks, which is kind of hard to find, especially in a journaling Bible. And I personally love this because I'm constantly flipping back and forth. So if you're someone like me, having the 2 bookmarks is really great. And in this New King James Version, the bookmarks are 2 different colors, and I just kind of adore that too. One of the other biggest things about this Bible is that it's comfort print. So Thomas Nelson Bibles put tons of effort into creating a Bible that's easy to read, but without it being full large print. So if I compare it to my ESV Bible here, the print is much bigger, but not quite as big as a large print Bible. And it's much darker, like it's a much richer color, like a little bolder of print. So it's really easy to read, especially if you need glasses, but you don't want a full large print Bible. So because of that, because it's comfort print, it also is a bit thicker of a Bible in general compared to, say, my Zondervan NIV here. You can see that it is a little bit thicker. This one is obviously really built up because I have so much art journaling in it. So the print is really great for just general reading as well. And that's kind of the main feature of this Bible, is this comfort print that they put so much time and effort into. And I kind of love it. So I also think that if you were to, say, do some Bible journaling, let's actually use my Zondervan here. So if you're going to do some Bible journaling like I do, and you occasionally like to cover up the words. Some people do not like to cover up the words, and that's perfectly fine, but I'm just using this as an example. It definitely will be easier to still read it underneath watercolor if you're someone like me and you follow my tutorials. You know, sometimes I go over that scripture, and just to let you know, it probably will be much easier to see under that watercolor as well. So I also wanted to show you the bleed through of this. One of my other favorite things is that it has this note section in the back, which other journaling Bibles don't have. So you can see in my ESV here, the back pages are just tables and stuff like that. So they don't have any notes, and this one does, which I like a lot. And so I used this page to test out some supplies. These are my favorite supplies, my go-tos, and I have, you know, blog posts on this and everything on my favorite supplies. I'll put that link in the description below, especially if you're interested in getting these. So these are the 6 that I go to all the time. I did also add a stamp here, though I'm not a big stamper. I know a lot of you guys are, so I don't have a ton of stamp pads and whatnot to test out, but I did have the Illustrated Faith one, so I'm going to show you that. So here's my Tombow Food Nosuke. This is the brush pen that I use in 98% of my Bible journaling pages. I use it all the time, and I talk about it all the time. And it doesn't bleed through, but it does ghost a bit, and it's always ghosted in all of my other Bibles as well. But it doesn't bleed through, and it's also waterproof, which I love. So this is really comparable to any of my other journaling Bibles as well. I also have a Micron pen here. This I love for just general note taking. I use this in my study Bible as well for note taking. And then I have my Sakura Decorise gel pen. It doesn't bleed through at all. You can't really see it very well, which is nice. And then I also have my Uniball Signo, which you can just barely see. Gel pens, of course, don't bleed through, and I wasn't worried about them doing that, but I just wanted to make sure. So these are my 2 favorite gel pens, and I'll put those, I'll put that link to all the supply list again in the description below. So if you follow me, you know I use my Gansai Tambi watercolors all the time. So this is what the back looks like. No bleed through at all. Slight ghosting, but it holds up really well on the page. And then, of course, I also did some apple barrel acrylics that I use. These guys. And the acrylics don't ever bleed through at all, but I thought I would just put that there as well so you can see no bleed through at all, but you can still see it slightly, but once you cover up the next page, you don't ever notice that at all. And then the Illustrated Faith stamp here didn't bleed through either. So these pages do hold up really well. They're really comparable to any other journaling Bibles. I find them probably a little more comparable to my Zondervan NIV in terms of thickness. They're still a lot thicker than a normal Bibles, but not quite as thick as my ESV here, which holds up just a little bit better, I think, especially in terms of the watercolor. And the crinkliness of the watercolor in the Bible is definitely more comparable to my Zondervan NIV. But you can see this Bible is just full of watercolor pages, so it still holds up really, really nicely. So those are the supplies that I love to use. I also want to point out, sorry about this shadow that's coming in. I also want to point out, though, that if you're going to use stamps, I highly recommend using a pigment ink rather than a dye-based ink or a solvent ink, because those almost always bleed through, but pigment tend not to bleed through. And of course, you can also always prep your pages with gesso. And of course, I talk about that also in the supplies blog post as well. So be sure to check that out if you're interested. All right, so that's the main bulk of this Bible. It's really awesome. One thing that is not my favorite, but I personally don't mind a ton, is that the pages are more cream than other journaling Bibles that I have. So one of the complaints or questions I get asked a lot is if there's Bibles with the stark white pages, because the stark white tends to be a little bit easier to journal with, especially if you're using stickers or things like that. People really want the white Bible. This one is cream pages, and it's a lot more cream than like my ESV is. So that's just something to keep in mind. But I personally don't mind this, especially if I'm painting over it and doing art in it. And if I'm using this as a study Bible, it's nice because it's so easy to read, and it's really comforting to read because it's comfort print. So if you're not even doing art in your Bible, this is definitely a really great one as well. So that's about it, I think. I think I covered it all. Really cool Bible. I really like it. It is single column as well, just to let you know. You probably already saw that. Anyways. So Thomas Nelson, King James Version and New King James Version, comfort print journaling Bibles. I think they're really cool. Overall, I'm really excited about them. And again, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or through my email list. And next week, I'll let you know about the giveaway for this Bible. So I'll put those links again in the description below, as well as links to buy these Bibles and links to my supplies blog post. Well, I'll be in that description below. All right, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel and give it a thumbs up. Give the video a thumbs up. All right, have a great day. God bless.